أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. We seek refuge in God from Satan. He's after us. We are his main targets. Doesn't care about the people who are out there drinking and gambling, drugging, disobeying God. Doesn't care about it. Doesn't bother them. But he's after us. God tells us so in the Quran. He said, I will set on the straight path, the right path. We seek refuge in God from him. In the name of God, most gracious, most merciful. Our teacher tonight is Dr. Sabahi and his assistants are Dan, Ali, and Amir.
No way.
And we started with Surah
97. No, sorry.
95.
Okay, I was just checking. I was just checking.
Their assistants are on the wall.
Very. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. In the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful. The surahs that we are covering tonight are, we start with 95, the fig or a team. It is consisted of 8 ayahs overall, and one of the short surahs of the latest parts of the Quran. When I was looking at this surah and the previous surahs that we covered, I realized that there are quite a few surahs that God starts with a different thing that He's swearing by them. And I tried to see what are those, and thus far they have covered up to Surah 93, which was the forenoon, which is the ones that God starts with by the forenoon and then by the night. And then I went back and tried to see what other surahs God has done this. At least the ones that I came up with, there were 12 surahs that God starts with a swear to different things. And I tried to see whether there is any relationship or why is God doing this and what is He trying to tell us. There were some of them that one starts with the sun, the moon, with the bright star, the sky, the earth, galaxies, all the things that we see around us in the sky and around us. And then there are others that God uses the changes that we see during the every 24 hours, like the dawn, the forenoon, the day, the night, the afternoon, and the dusk. And we have Surah 100 that is the runners, which is a subject by itself. And we have a Surah, the town, and we have in Surah 91 we have the soul. It's something that we don't see. The things that we had up to this point, these are the things that we see, and God is swearing by them. But by the soul, or even an odd, and promise day, and witness, these are the things that I found by a quick review of the latest parts of the surahs of the since Surah 81. And if you look at those surahs, the only surah that God has given a plant's name, and also starts with swearing by the fig and the olive, is this the only surah that we have. So there should be something significant, I guess, about these two plants that God is swearing to. And overall, what I understand from this is that God is telling us to look around and look at what is going on around us and try to see what are the changes and try to understand, try to use our intelligence try to see and try to understand what is going on and see the signs that are all over the place. So with that, I go back to Surah 95. In the name of God, most gracious, most merciful. By the fig and the olive, by the Mount Sinai and his honored town, and this honored town, sorry. We created man in the best design. In the new copy that we have, ayah 5 is missing, so I took it off the old copy. So we created man in the best design, then we reverted him to lowliest of the lowly. Except those who believe and lead a righteous life, they receive a reward that is well deserved. Why do you still reject the faith? Is God not the most wise and all the wise ones? So we go back to first, by the fig and the olive. There's a footnote here that is saying that fig, olive, Sinai, and Mecca may symbolize the prophets, Adam, Jesus, Moses, Abraham, and Muhammad, which, since there is not more in the footnote, I guess Dr. Khalifa is the one who can explain what he means by that. I don't. From the town, I know it relates to Muhammad, Ibrahim, and Mount Sinai it relates to Moses. But fig and olive, how that relates to Adam and Jesus, then he can explain to us what does it mean.
Well, amazingly, it is universal. The fig leaf, or the fig tree, reminds us of Adam and Eve in paradise when they covered themselves in the leaves of paradise or whatever. But universally, this seems to be related to Adam and Eve. Fig. The olive, Mount Olive, Jesus, is a connection. And Mount Sinai, Moses, Mecca, Abraham. So this represents the one and the same message that came to us through different messages from Adam to Muhammad, from the fig to Mecca.
Okay, so after the first 3 verses, God says, we created man in the best design. What is the meaning of that is something that we can think of. What is the best design? What is the best design that God does? Because man is different from the rest of the creatures. The only difference is that he has the brain and he can think and he make the decision. And God has given us that design, and then we have decided to make a decision. We made a decision and then went along, and then God tells us that He created us in the best design, and then reverted us to the lowliest of the lowly. And then this is one step, the best design. The second step is the lowliest of the lowly. So we start on the high, we go down the lowest, and then there is a chance for those who believe and live a righteous life to receive a reward that is well deserved. So it is upon us. God is giving us the chance to change ourselves from the lowliest of the lowly to go to do something that we can get out of that lowliest of lowly and go to a place that is better than lowliest of the lowly. Ask my senior assistant, Hamid, to talk about fig and olive, I guess, that he's prepared to tell us what is the significance of these plants that, some botany work, I guess.
Well, I can chat basically. I just have a few other information that might not be as relevant, but it's just information regarding the plants themselves. One of the things that's most common said here is figs and olives they're very common in almost every part of the world, and everybody's very familiar with them. And they're both very good source of nutrition, especially figs. High concentration of sugar, calcium, and especially in parts of the world like provide a source of, it's really a good source of laxative for the sea. Especially in all of us are all.
You try to eat my figs and all the way to stop it, it's death in your life.
I thought about it.
We have a fig tree here, they're the sweetest figs in the world.
Right.
We walked by and saw the fruits, and you read his thoughts. You touched those.
I tried. Every time I passed by, I saw you standing right there.
I had guards with them.
Another thing about the plant, figs are certain figs, mostly figs, they you get figs from this tree 2 times in the year, twice a year, and olives every other year. Certain parts they don't even bloom one year. Next year are very protected class. Basically about it. Olives are when pollinated. Figs are pollinated by a certain bug that they created within the tree.
Does everybody know that the olive oil actually reduces your cholesterol?
Because
Unlike many other fats, all other fats increase your cholesterol. Olive oil actually reduces your cholesterol.
olive oil contains a lot of the oil in the olive oil is not pure oil. It's not a molecule in it. It's not lipid molecules. They're not fatty acids by themselves. They're diluted with other chemicals. Use them. They don't produce cholesterol.
And I have another thing here is the Dr. Sabahi's excellent explanation that I think touched on the spiritual design, best design. But I just want to mention the physical design as well of the human being, which we tend to take for granted. For example, here is a 44-ounce thirst buster right here. I will try to pick it up with 4 fingers. So God designed so I have a thumb. So if I design it with just 4 fingers, watch me pick it up, right? How will you pick it up without this? So this is the physical design that God did.
No way.
There. That's very awkward, isn't it? It's very difficult. We take it for granted that it go like this. This thumb. Also, we took for granted that you walk on one leg. Did you know that? Huh? At any given moment, you're walking on one leg. Now, if you design something, you will not design it to walk on one leg. You're always on one leg. You don't realize that, but there's some little fluid in your ears that gives you balance. And if it's messed up, you can't walk. You don't think of that. We take it for granted. That you're always on one leg. When you're walking, you're always on one. And normally, if you think about it, when you design something yourself, you're not doing something if you go on one leg. But this is the perfect design God made for the human being.
Yeah?
Well, actually, I was going to say that.
I should have stopped him.
Sorry about that. You can touch something else.
He took it out of my words.
Two kidneys.
Let's see what they say about that. Well, actually, when I look at this verse, I think about us being in our souls before we came here, and then He created the best possible way that we would come back to this life. He created us, like He said, fingers and things like that. Our soul, I don't know if this is true. It will be this. Basically, it's low. It's lower than what it was before we came here. We started from the ground, It's up to us to make it grow in this life. Like in line 6, except those who believe and were righteous, they enjoy a well-deserved recompense. So you have this kid, okay, and his soul is so pure, but he's starting. It's up to us while we grow to feed our soul by praying, by following the amendments, things like that, and we start growing and growing. And if we don't do that, people might, how can I say, sometimes people may think that they have a good life. Like some of the people, they think that because they're getting money, they have the best. Like for example, some movie stars, they will have money, cars, everything. Their souls don't have anything. You don't know if they have a really good life or not. It's up to us to actually make it grow. But everybody starts from the bottom, so nobody can say, well, he had an advantage. No. Everybody kind of went up, and I mean, it's just when a person actually believes in God, that he sees that there's only one God. Some people might be pushing to some other direction, but for some reason, I always see everybody being always before they even turn to that path. I always see everybody stopping in that path where everybody meets, and not being able to see the right path from the wrong path, and just walking to the wrong one. I don't know. For some reason, I just feel everybody, kind of went equal into a point, and they just kind of went their way, and they didn't find the right path. So I feel that it's up to us to actually do it. So, but I feel that everybody starts from a point that God made it that way, that we wouldn't have some belief, and that's life.
Oh, yeah.
Comment.
You was mentioning about man is the only one who has the brain, I guess, to think or make decision of the freedom of choice. I guess that's what you were indicating, that other animals, they didn't have a brain. They had a brain, but they didn't have a decision, the capacity what to think. Well, a tree will grow as tall as it possibly can. Like you take a redwood, it will grow as high as it possibly can, knowing that it doesn't realize, the sky, how the sky is, or is it unattainable, is it unreachable. It will grow as tall as it possibly can. And it seems to me that man is the only one who does not develop or try to achieve the reach of potential.
About something about the olive, the fig tree. The fig you harvest twice a year. How can that be possible? I learned much about irrigation. Those kind of trees, it's not like water irrigation of vegetables that you water every day. You harvest as many times a year. Those trees this is part of my culture back home in Berber side of the country. It's a big festival every summer, not during. Like you harvest in summer, they lose their leaves in the fall and the winter, then they bloom in the spring and they harvest again in summer. How can you do it twice a year?
Must be a organic variety.
No, most fig trees do that. But one of the crops is not edible. It's just a readiness for the next one. Some people do eat them.
Oh, okay. So they pick them green. They pickle them or eat them fresh.
Some people just pick them.
Yeah.
But
It's only one crop a year.
it dries out. So the next crop grows from the base of that one. That's what makes it. The second crop there. It pollinates itself. It creates, when it dries out, it creates a bug, and the bug carries it to the male, and it pollinates itself inside it. It grows to the big.
That with the olives, because as far as my understanding, the olives they harvest every year, every other year.
They have got something called alternate bearing. The crop is very heavy one year, very light the next year. So this actually happens in citrus also, but you don't notice it. So you keep harvesting from different trees. This individual trees will do that. One tree will be heavy, the next one will be light, and then they alternate the next year. So he's getting into botanical particulars.
I don't know, but that's what I've read, what I studied. That's what happens. Of course, today with genetic engineering, they can make olives that look like the size of a pear. They can make it all kinds of ways.
Libyan trees are not standard.
I took the word out of my mouth. Libyan trees are weird.
Yes.
I didn't say all of them. I'm sorry. I didn't generalize it. I said in certain places.
Yeah, I understand. What I'm saying is, this kind of trees, it's not like water irrigated every day like vegetables, tomatoes and lettuce and all that. Those things, they get water,
Almost wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like they're growing wild.
She has. No, she has a question.
Yeah. Verse 5, is that about this life, about particular souls cited in the hereafter?
From what I understand, it's like chemists like to put things in steps. There are 3 steps. You were first created the best design, which I looked through my notes, and I think there's another chapter that chapter 87. God mentions that glorify the name of your Lord the Most High. He creates and shapes, He designs and guides. So He says that He designed us the best design. So we're something like the angels. We were the best, like the rest of the creation, among the best. And then, based on what Rashad has quite frequently discussed, that we made the decision to give it a try, go with Satan and give it a try, and made that decision. So we went to the second step, which is the lowliest. We came down, we left that high level of life, and then came down to see what it's like here, and then see whether we can fight with Satan and succeed and go back to try to reach to the high level again. And I think the third step is when you try to change, to get away from Satan, to lead to the right path and succeed in getting back to the high life, to get to the heaven. This is the way I see it.
2 questions. In Surah 4, there's no reference to Mary eating a fig, eating some fruit that's only like a specific days. That's what brought that to mind in terms of the time in which Jesus could have been born. Secondly, what is the meaning of we in verses 4 and 5? Where it says, we created man in the best design. It says, then we reverted him. Does the we imply participation of angels, other forces, in creation of man in the best design, and Satan's involvement in his going to the lowest above?
Sabahi just explained very well, but also regarding lowliness to the lowly, applies also to this life as far as the disbelievers are concerned. Read Surah 6, God says they're worse than animals. The disbelievers and idol worshippers are worse than animals, because they made a stupid decision not to appreciate God.
Intentional drop in verse 5 was not intentional.
God will fix it. It's a deep fault. You have to blame somebody. We will fix it. We'll have it stickers. And we will,
I thought it was just for this copy here.
yeah, no, this is actually, I'm glad you brought this up. It's a lesson from God to teach us that the Quran is not the ink and the paper. It's not the physical book. We have a verse number 5 in Arabic drop out, surah number 2, and verse number 5 in English in this surah drop out. So we have 2 verses that dropped out by mistake. One Arabic number 5, one English number 5, and the 2 false verses we removed. We have mathematical proof that verse 5 in Arabic, verse 5 in English, the other ones that dropped out, belong in the Quran, but they have no evidence that the two false verses belong in the Quran. Are you following me? See, there's the evidence on the wall there. All this long number, 12,692 numbers. They include every verse in the Quran, but not the two false verses. And that number is divisible by 19. If you include the two false verses, the whole thing collapses. You don't have anything. But as it is, we have a fantastic miracle now. So God is telling us that remember that we are living in an age of books. See, this is probably a very primitive thing. That 100 years from now, they will laugh at us. They'll show movies of people looking at a book like this. Because 100 years from now, the people probably know books. So this is not the Quran. It's not the ink in the paper. When the Prophet Muhammad went to the highest heaven to receive the Quran, God didn't give him a book. Here is a book, Quran. The Quran is in the heart. And obviously God is making the point that because they say that falsehood cannot enter this book, so how come the Quran has the two verses printed in it? They forget that the Quran is written in many different ways. And a lot of people, Orientalists, printed it with surahs mixed up and rearranged the verses. They added things and dropped things, but this doesn't mean that God did not preserve the Quran, because the Quran is not this physical book. And we're having this demonstration with a new translation. So we will add the verses after we receive the book. We'll add these two verses that dropped now by mistake. Also, we write the Quran in the computer electronically. So what is that? So the Quran is in the heart. We know exactly every letter that belongs in the Quran, and if anything strange is added to it, we know that too. If anything drops out, we know that. And this is obviously God's will to teach us this lesson. The ink and the paper is not the Quran. Back to Dr. Sabahi.
Okay, one more comment before I go to Surah 96. I think plants are overall one of the most amazing chemical factories that exist on the earth. For a while, I was before coming to US, I was involved in research on plants and drugs that are derived from plants. And as a chemist, I was amazed to see how complex these molecules are that you can take from a plant. As an example that I can tell you now is that the most effective cancer research, or the most effective compounds or agents, if you call them, against cancer thus far are the ones who have origins from plant materials. And China is one of the leading countries in that respect because they invest a lot in natural products research. And recently there was a symposium. So what happens is that the plants, as time goes by, they synthesize these things. And if you don't need too much chemistry to understand that the only chemicals available to the plants are carbon dioxide, nitrogen from the ground, and water. So you have carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, and oxygen. These four basically nature elements, and some phosphorus and other things that come from the ground. And this plant, as you seed it and it grows, it starts to put these things together. And then after a while, you take the chemist, takes the leaves, goes to the lab, and tries to extract these chemicals out of it. And then spends a lot of time, years maybe, to see what is the structure. You started with one nitrogen, one oxygen, one hydrogen, millions of them, small pieces. And then this plant has put this together to a gigantic molecule, all attached together. That, first of all, human beings have a lot of trouble to identify what the structure is, because the definite structure of the compound is something that you need to know as a chemist or as a pharmacist. So after they find the structure of the things, and they know the potency. They try it, say, okay, this is effective against this infection or cancer or whatever. Then they want to make in bulk so that they can introduce it to the market and give it to people. So should they go and kill all the plants? No, the chemists come into play, say, okay, we are going to synthesize it, do the thing that the plant does slowly. It's designed to do it. And so they go in the lab and start it. One of the very great synthetic chemists that was here a few months ago, he said they have been working 5 years. I mean, they have been a group of the top-notch scientists working to synthesize a molecule that has been derived from the plant and has been shown that it has the potency against cancer, very active compound. So it took them at least 5 years, and they had only one step to do, and that is the difference was the molecule that they were synthesizing was like the right glove of your hand that you can put on your left hand. There's a difference. There's no way you can superimpose your right and left hand. Or, to better understand, you cannot put a right glove on your left hand. Have you ever realized this? That is a concept, chemists call it chirality. And that's one of the most amazing things in the creation. And this is in all the molecules. In one molecule, which is the right-handed molecule, may be very effective. The left-handed has no potency, no effect at all. And the only difference is that if you look, these are the mirror. If you put the mirror here, this is going to be exactly this hand. This is call it the mirror image of the other. These molecules are mirror images of itself. But one of them has, like cocaine, has that property. If you take the same, exactly the same number of carbon, hydrogen, whatever, but the only difference is that the right glove is not the left glove. It doesn't have the same. If you take a kilo of it, you don't get high. And so I think when I read that plants are such an amazing creatures and do things that you take for granted. You don't realize what it is. And it is another sign, another one of those signs. There is a reason that God is swearing by the plant, the fig, and the olive that obviously have significance, as Dr. Khalifa mentioned it, and also from a chemist's point of view. So by that, I go back, start Surah 96. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. You have a question?
No.
Okay.
No, I was just going to add what you were saying, that God created man, he's intelligent enough to understand that you can eat the fig off the tree, or you can dry it out and you can eat it later on. The olive, you cannot eat it off the tree, can you? You have to treat it with salt or other chemicals to make it, unless you're in Libya, usually. Usually people treat it with other things.
Just like the dry raisins. Dates will get, grapes will get raisins, same thing with olives. You can dry them out, they could just like raisins. Eat it that way, without putting salt and things like that.
I tried eating some olives without putting salt.
Fresh green from the tea, they don't taste good.
Well, actually, you have excellent varieties in Libya, olives.
Yeah.
They don't have in Afghanistan.
Libya.
We have fantastic varieties of olives in Libya, Egypt, and North Africa.
Spain. Spain is the best olive.
Hey, Robert, you want to say something? Say the word.
I remember asking you a question earlier about, if God knew that human beings were going to, the majority of human beings were going to go to hell, then why did he follow through with creation? Because obviously he knew that the majority would go to hell before he ever created. And does that refer, and then you said, well, human beings are kind of like the criminals in our society. The human race was the one creature that was the bad egg, kind of like. So does that refer to the lowest of low in verse 5? That's the best.
That's applicable too. Yes.
Is that?
Well, you see, God gave us the chance, but when we blow that chance, then we really bad. See, one of the reasons for creating this world is the creatures who end up in hell will not say, you didn't give us another chance, or you didn't tell us how bad hell is, and all these things. So all their excuses are being nullified now here. So the creature was given a second chance. stupid, you know, if he doesn't take advantage of it. If you give somebody a key to a treasure, and he or she throws it away, and then you give him or her another chance. Give him the key again and say, there's a treasure in this box. Don't throw the key away. Go open the box, and they still throw the key away. That's really stupid. So this is lowliest of the lowly. It's worse than animals. I hope this answers the question. Did I get the question right?
Yeah, that answered that question.
What's the other question?
Well, it's just that the same one. Well, God knew
Right.
that the human race in general was stupid. You know, that they were going to take that key and throw it away the second time. The
Right.
majority of them weren't.
Right.
And then I know that free will it comes in.
Well,
Like you
the
said, you can't have a robot, but I just.
The question is,
Why would he put us in here carrying huge people?
well, okay, you didn't catch my other part of the answer then. Is to nullify the excuses, so they will not say you didn't give us another chance.
No, I got that part. I just didn't understand that human beings are going to suffer for eternity. And him, God knowing this is going to happen, why was it?
He knew.
Why was it created?
He knew, but you didn't.
Yeah, but you see, if we didn't have this second chance, and we were thrown in hell, we would say, you didn't give us another chance. Now with the creation of this world, we cannot say this anymore.
Because now we know.
No, it's still.
I think what Mark is trying to say is, if he knew this is going to all happen, why bother creating?
Yeah, exactly.
Because he knew that, but we didn't know that.
No, but that's the point. Why God is all merciful? He's all merciful.
That's why he's giving us.
So it's the second chance.
I understand that, but God knew that we were going to need the second chance in the first place. You understand what I'm saying? God knew that we were going to go wrong. So why would
No. There's so many millions of us who were saved. All the people who died before 40.
Yeah.
All the people who there's still millions of us who are. So for this relative few, it was worth it to create all this universe and go through all this place.
Okay. That answers it.
Yeah. So there's still. I mean, think of all you and I. Hopefully, will make it to heaven. And think of all the millions who died before 40. They would have been in hell. But as it is, because of the creation of this universe, they are going to heaven instead. So God's mercy is saving all these millions of people.
But the answer was that it's worth it for the few to receive.
They're not really few. If you think of it, if you ask Mahmoud Habib, he'll tell you the majority of Somalis are going to heaven. Because they all died before 40. The dictator is killing them before they get to 40. And this is a blessing. Right. Yes.
Everybody has a reason, a purpose for being here. Like, each one of us has, I can't explain it, but in our daily life, we do something or meet someone. We're here to make our souls grow, we want our souls to go right. And even a bad person may intervene in our life, they supposed to, because that might help us, but everyone has a purpose.
In their own circumstances, yes.
For being here. It's just that God created this. If we didn't come here, we couldn't grow anymore. We couldn't, God willing, if I'm the Lord, like I'm thinking, but by His mercy, we are here in order to,
And by His mercy, millions of us are being saved. So would have otherwise granted them. So this seems to satisfy Robert. Is that a good enough reason?
That wasn't the answer to the question. The one earlier was, so I was satisfied with the answer.
I have a question. When we were
You can't ask questions. You have to answer questions.
I mean, when we were, everybody was over there before we came here. Did everybody actually said, when God asked us, and we had in our little corner there, He asked us, do do you believe in me or not? Did everybody say no or yes, or everybody say yes, and he knew that they were not actually not satisfied with him?
Well, we said we'd like to see a demonstration. Maybe Satan can do it.
Oh, that's what
we
some
said.
people say?
Let me try to make an analogy with the situation. Let's say that God is on planet Mars. We were all up there. This is a whole galaxy, a whole planet, and we made a mistake. And it's exactly what we did. And God said, okay, you guys, you're criminals, you made a mistake. I'm not going to send you to hell. I'm going to give you guys another chance. He put us all on a starship, send us out here, beamed us on planet Earth. He goes, okay, I'm going to give you this body for all of you, for this number of years, and I'm going to test you guys. And after you're done with this body, you dispose this body, then you come back to me, and I'll look at what you've done.
Just if those who redeem themselves will come back and join my kingdom, and those who don't want to can go and join the boss, Satan.
Waiting. Would there be all concept we use so we can discuss all the time that the human being created to expose Satan is still valid or not?
What's this again?
The human being was created to expose Satan.
No.
Is it valid anymore?
There's not valid. It was a good step. It was a good step. Not Jesus himself.
Okay, I guess I have to stop at this point and go to the next surah, Surah 96. Muhammad was going to this cave for praying, and whatever reason he was going there, and what is happening in this surah, which is the first 5 verses which were revealed to him, were the first verses that from the Quran that was revealed to Muhammad. So the story is that he one day he was in the cave, and he heard the voice that told him to read, which is the beginning of the surah. And he panicked, and he thought that he's hallucinating and things like that. And then he heard the order again, read. And the story is that he said, I can't read. How can I read? And then Gabriel told him, read in the name of your Lord who created. So that's the story that I read, and although I have heard it before, more or less the same, I don't know how true it is.
It's not true.
But this is the story that I read in the book, that this is the way it happened to Muhammad, that Gabriel told him to read, and he said, I can't read. And he said, okay, read. Then I'll go to the surah now. In the name of God, most gracious, most merciful. Read in the name of your Lord who created. He created man from an embryo. Read, and your Lord, more exalted, teaches by means of the pen. He teaches man what he never knew. Indeed, the human transgresses when he becomes rich. Your Lord is the ultimate destiny. 9. Have you seen the one who enjoins others from praying? Is it not better for him to follow the guidance or advocate righteousness? 13. If he disbelieves and turns away, does he not realize that God sees? 15. Indeed, unless he refrains, we will take him by the forelock, the forelock that is disbelieving and sinful. Let him then call on his helpers. We will call the guardians of hell. We shall not obey him. We shall fall prostrate and draw near. The first 5 verses, which are the first revelations, and as you see in the footnote, the code number 19 is all over those 5 verses, and also the whole surah, which is consisted of 19 surahs overall. And it is a miracle in itself. God tells Muhammad, read in the name of your Lord who created. He created man from an embryo. Whatever this is embryo, which is the translated word for alaq. People have used this in different ways. The way everyone to his own understanding of maybe the universe, the biology, or whatever it was, or whatever help he got from God in understanding Quran, they have defined it or interpreted it in different ways. But what is clear here, God is saying that read, and read in the name of the one who created you and the whole universe. And he created man from an embryo, which I thought a lot about it. What does that really mean, the embryo? Is that really the physical meaning of the formation of the embryo in an animal, human beings or any animal, that leads to creation of a human being or a new being, or it does refer to anything else? I couldn't come up with anything else unless we get something else from Rashad Khalifa. He's referring to Muhammad and us. If we limit this surah to the time, that's one problem that exists, is that since this was revealed to Muhammad, everyone tries to interpret the surah to exactly the same time and what God meant at the time. But since this is the book which is for all times, then at any time of history, that I think people can understand it in different ways. And if you stick with the facts that you knew 13 or 1400 years ago, or you didn't know a lot of things as science moved on, then you get yourself into trouble. But what it means is that God created a man from nothing, something that he knows how he does it, and from nothing that was nobody else can do the same thing that God is doing. And then in verses 3 to 5 is telling us and first Muhammad that read is teaching. God is teaching you by the means of the pen, and he teaches man what he never knew. I think if from these surahs up to this point, I came to the understanding that if we as Muslims have read Quran and thought about it a little bit more carefully, I think we should have been the leaders in science in the whole world, because there are so many facts, and God is giving us the light. Say, okay, look at the sky, look at the sun, look at the stars. One day sit outside and see how the whole thing changes, and think. But we kept saying that the world is flat. And then he tells us about the plants. He tells us about how beings are created, and he tells us that he's creating man from an embryo. So we took it as, okay, this is God said so don't worry about it. And then says, read, and your Lord more exalted, he teaches man what he never knew. So if you don't read, that's what I tell Ali all the time, read your books, do your homework. If you don't read, you never know what's going on. But it is true that a very simple explanation or understanding of the ayahs that I have is that you start reading, God is going to help you and teach you. And also, God teaches by means of pen. It has some other, some other thing in it, that people who are dealing with pen have a very great responsibility, because those are the people who can have a great effect on a lot of people who read. So you can't write something that you can mislead. You can't write something that you can lead people. And I have seen that very clearly in the after revolution or before revolution, but as far as religion is concerned, after revolution, our country, and a simple thing, a simple one sentence or one paragraph, how that simple one written document can change the whole nation, change the whole affect the whole the life of the world. And that is another indication that God is teaching you by the means of the pen, and He teaches you what you never knew, but you have to be a little bit willing to put in a little bit hard work to work on it, and then God helps you. And I think I'll stop at these first 5 verses and let. Oh, he's so willing to go, so he didn't leave. Okay, go.
Look at this, the embryo. I don't know if the other translation was a clock. I think it was. I look at it, those 5 ones, and the whole thing is the embryo, the start. We were just a clot, an embryo, and we started from that. Look at that. He says that read in the name of your Lord who created. He's telling us that He created us. He created man from an embryo, from something. That's when we started. Read, and your Lord won't insult it. Okay, indeed, He teaches by the means of the pen. Like those 5, actually, the way I look at it is the Quran. That we will start learning from God, from actually reading. That's the first step that we take. The first time I actually came here, before I came here, my brother gave me a Quran. And I said, Hamid's apartment needs to be there. And my brother came here, and I was over there waiting for him. And I sat on the couch, and I started reading it. I felt like after that, I felt like myself, I was an embryo. I'm just something that I'm just starting. I started reading it, and I started seeing things that I never saw. That I always asked when I used to go to Catholic school, and I used to ask questions, they never actually answered. And there, they were there. So, I just felt like I was being born. Like I was being created right and then. For some reason, I just feel that those 5 will be for the Quran. A person needs to read. When a person reads it, and God wants him to be a believer, He will create him right and then into a believer. He's no longer a normal person. I was no longer a normal person. I feel like I'm something, that I'm here because of something. And I just feel that, it's the Quran of what he teaches us by the means of the pen. I don't know if 20 years from now that will be, go be the same thing. That, they can put you in a computer and it will be in the computer. Right now, everything is written down. And back then, it was written down too. I don't know, it was before. So I think that's what it means, what the Quran said. The one reads it, and one is born right then. That's what I have.
Okay, inshallah.
Let me ask you a question. Allah. Isn't it closer to the meaning of the clot than the embryo? Because when you say the embryo, I think that you're definitely jumping ahead about 5 stages. Because the very first thing is like a ball or a ruler, and that's a clot. I don't know if you remember.
Just think it's a zygote, David.
Okay, well, a zygote is still way before an embryo.
Right.
So,
The zygote is an embryo also.
no, sir, I'm not sure, because
When
it says He created man from an embryo.
Way up.
An embryo is way out. Like Dr. Sabahi, according to the Arabic here, what would Allah call it? Basically.
I don't know Arabic, but I looked up the meanings of Allah. I think one of them is clot. And
It's not clot. That's not an accurate word. The literal word means something that is hanging. Something that is stuck and hanging.
suspend.
The clot, though, is more of a definitive term, like what it basically comes from, an embryo. Now, He didn't create man from an embryo. He created man from a clot, a zygote.
I met Dr. Bukai. Dr. Bukai? The Bible, Science, and the Quran. very angry at the word clot. Clot is a piece of blood that is
That's
like
exactly
jelly,
what
and
it is.
that is not what the human embryo is. And he was really angry.
No, sir, I'm going to have to
So
disagree
I
on
never
that.
used clot again.
Because that was his own personal opinion, but that's what we were. That's what we are. Just a clot. Literally. Yeah.
No. The word literally means something that is hanging.
Right. Like this is trophoblast when it clings to the wall. It's a
Right.
clot. It's just a blob of cells.
Right, you said cells, but it's not a clot. It's a very active, very living group of cells that is dividing very fast.
Does
Clot is not even dead blood cells.
does Allah means leech too?
Right, yes.
That's
Something
what.
that-
That's
something that
exactly.
hangs.
We are what's the word? A parasite.
Yeah.
Mother woman when we first start off.
Yeah, I read in a Farsi translation or a little bit interpretation that says maybe this is because leech and sperm are somehow similar in shape. This may be something that God is saying that He created man from the whatever is.
But what happens is when the zygote and everything attaches to the wall, it literally buries itself into the uterus, and it literally sucks blood out, just like a leech. So I don't think that the
That
word
is
embryo
yeah.
is right. I don't know. I just want,
Yeah,
know what I'm
that's,
saying?
yeah.
Okay.
David, technically an embryo is immediately after fertilization of the ovum. You have an embryo, technically.
I'll bring a book by myself.
I know, that's what was zygote, embryo, fetus, but all these are all embryos, technically.
Okay.
The definition of an embryo is fertilized ovum. That's correct? You're a medical background.
Zygote.
Yeah, zygote is an embryo.
Yeah.
Anyway, I thought embryo would be a safe translation because it covers a wide range. From
Yeah,
the zygote to the fetus.
It does cover it. Might please that one guy. It might be word clot or plasma.
No. Clot is not accurate at all.
Okay.
Lisa,
What is a clot, David?
Did it comment?
What is a clot?
I'm not saying use the word zygote.
Yeah, Bukai was definitely very angry at the clot.
See, I think maybe you're being swayed by his personal opinion, which really can't do it. For me, for the layman, I think clot would be easier to understand because that's basically, that really to me gives more of a greatness to God. Coming from something that's, it's a clot, it's a leech, it's a lot, or whatever.
But you see, David, there are two things against the word clot. The first thing is clot is a dead object. Second is clot is not what the Arabic word is.
Yeah.
Not what the Arabic word says. My first translation, I was influenced by the general opinion. I didn't think about it. I thought clot would be accurate, but it was not.
Okay.
7 years later, it's not accurate. Let's go back to Dr. Sabahi.
Thank you, pardon.
I think Ed, he gave a very good, Dan gave a very good.
No, see, let me point out something about what he says. How come everybody's arguing about one word, one sentence? How come they don't look at the whole picture? Like the whole sentence. Everybody's always arguing about the translation, one word. One word doesn't mean anything. It's the whole picture that is given.
Then why was there a need to make a second one of these?
Well, because it's in the translation of the better way. But if you
Right.
look clot
That's how
or embryo, the way I look at it, even though if it's the same, I mean, it would be clot or embryo, I look at it the start,
I'm
something
looking
that
at
we were
the
there.
big picture.
The whole picture is a
I'm
collection
looking
of
at the
words.
big picture, but I'm also looking at, if I see something or you see something that you think doesn't really fit,
Yeah.
then I think we should express it. You know what I mean? Because otherwise, why even do the sobering.
The
Yeah.
chance of the
Because I look at the
translation.
big picture, and I look at this, and I don't need anything more than just this right now. When this comes out, that'll be great. But this is a big picture. I know that.
The chance of translation reflects the growth of the translator.
Yeah.
Original translation now would be different from the one that we're going to get.
Yeah, going back to comment on what you said, and also in addition to what Dr. Khalifa is saying, I think that's why Arabic version of the Quran is so valuable, and it's so important that if you can read it, because one part that we miss is the music. I don't know how to say it, the music and the way it is written. Because in Arabic, if you read it, you see that especially these short surahs, the size of the surah, the verses, the way they sound, the music that goes with it, they change. It's so beautiful that you can't, in English it's impossible. And that one word is another thing that makes it translation and things like that very difficult, as Dr. Khalifa mentioned. It's something that goes to perfection, from these discussions and maybe arguments, you just learn and move on, and maybe later on you find a better word for the thing. But as the Arabic word, it's very difficult to put it in one English word and say the same thing that it is said there. One thing that I wanted to add to Ali, are you volunteering to say something? He begged me not to call his name, but you wanna? No. No. Okay, and another picture that you can get the first 5 verses reading the name of your Lord who created and creation, is that the whole creation is a book. You can look at it as a book. You don't have to be able to read what is written here, like being literate. You can see and read without moving your lips. You can see these things. So God is, that's what makes it so beautiful, that even for people who can't read, if you hear it, and then, or even if you don't hear it, if you are willing enough to look at the things that is God telling you, He's telling you that He created, and He created these things. So the whole creation is a big book, huge book out there that you can go, read it, and understanding. There are a lot of things that you read from science. That's what a lot of scientists do. They don't see a lot of things, but they read it, as you say in English, you read between the lines. I think the creation is something that you can read from between the lines if you are willing to, if you pay attention, if you accept the fact that, one night go out, look at the beautiful sky, if it's not monsoon season, and you can read it, and from a lot of other things that God is saying here. I'm going to move on. Verse 6 and 7, indeed the human transgresses when he becomes rich. Whenever human beings feel that they are rich in anything, not money, only money, you may feel that you're rich in a lot of other things. And then that's the time that you start worshiping yourself or your ego or whatever you have accomplished in the world. And that's the time that you start to transgress. You start to move away from God, forget God, and go to the wrong path. So if God is helping you to get rich, as I said, in any way that you can be rich, and then you have to be very careful, because as has been said repeatedly, that it is not you, it is your work, you are working hard, you are putting a lot of effort into it, but God is helping you to become richer in whatever you're doing. But be careful not to transgress. But God is saying that human beings, this is the nature of them, they just transgress. But He mentions in 8 that your Lord is the ultimate destiny. Don't forget, whatever you get, whatever you accomplish, you have to finally die. You will die, and they put you, depending on when you die, either put you in a coffin or they just put you on the ground and put a lot of dirt on you, and there you are, and you can't take anything with you down there. Then God is again reminding us, have you seen the ones who enjoins others from praying? And this is one of the very interesting 2 verses that comes together, and we see it very easily, that there was a time that back in my country, before revolution, praying was something that if you did was something out of civilization. You were old-fashioned. You believed in something which is not civilized, westernized, and things like that. And so people tend to say, "Why you pray? Pray if you wanted to pray, and at least if you wanted to pray publicly." It was something that a lot of people would tell you, would make fun of it. But then after the revolution, it became a course. If you didn't pray, then you were in trouble. There were times that at 12 o'clock, they would ring the bell. Everyone's supposed to go to the mosque and pray, which was another problem, Whether you're praying for God or you're praying to show your boss that I'm a good Muslim, because it had good effects on your salary or where you go from in the future. But God is asking you, have you seen those? Have you seen the one who enjoins others from praying? Is it not better for him to follow the guidance or advocate righteousness? Which is clearly God is putting in question fashion. If he disbelieves and turns away, does he not realize that God sees? This is one thing that a lot of people don't realize, or they may know it, but they try to look the other way. God again is warning us, giving us some warning and cautioning us. Don't you think that God sees all what you do, and either whatever you do is wrong? He sees it. And then in 15 it comes, God is getting tough. Says, indeed, unless he refrains, we will take him by the forelock that is disbelieving and sinful. Let him then call on his helpers. We'll call the guardians of hell. We shall not obey him, we shall fall prostrate and draw near. So, in these last 5 verses, God is telling us the story of the people who go the wrong path, and God is telling us what he's going to do with those and how they are going to suffer in the future from what they do wrong, and they don't choose the right path, which is the path of righteousness and the path of God. Overall, if you look at these verses, it starts with a lot of people may have or may see it just as very disconnected, but it is very much connected. As you see, it's the whole story of human being, the life, the way he's created, the way he transgresses, the way he becomes stingy, the way he drowns into materialistic things, and then goes away from God's path and becomes astray. And then God is warning us at the end of the surah that don't do this, do whatever is required of you to do, and don't follow the crowd, as has been said frequently, and try to stick with what is right, which is in the book, in Quran, and follow him only. Amin. You have something?
I'll add something. When he becomes rich in line 7, to your Lord is the ultimate destiny. Those lines actually remind me what Dr. Khalifa keeps saying. So when you wake up every morning and after the day pass by, you actually think, what was the first thing, the thing that you most thought about during the day? If it is yourself, for some reason, humans tend to always look at themselves. When I came today, I missed work. Somebody's working for me right now. And they say, how come you come late from your breaks? How come you're always praying? How come you don't work and get money? That's much better for you. I said, well, you think that would be much better for yourself because you don't know what you're saying. But I think for me to be there and praying, it would be much better for me. They always look at always the money themselves, always buying nice cars, buying nice clothes, even though they don't even know that they're like the poorest people in the world. People actually see that. And plus, when they see other people praying and things like that, they make fun of it. some people they feel that they're more inferior. Right now, for some reason, church, even though people might say it, it's like going down. The new generation always looks at church as praying. I'm not going to get anywhere with it. They go and try to, go to college and try to become lawyers, and they never want to see church ever again. I mean, and right here, he's showing them that that's stupid. You have to actually do your soul. Then you because you did that, God is going to give you everything, and you're going to become whatever you want.
Any other comments? We have 2 more minutes, I guess. Any other suggestions? This is a very, we didn't have enough time, but it's very important surah, and I definitely urge, I wish somebody could read it in Arabic, because it is beautiful. I know it is a privilege, people who know Arabic, because I don't know Arabic. I can read it, but I don't understand it.
But doesn't matter. You are right.
No, just the way.
Beautiful and incomparable and extraordinarily excellent, literally very enjoyable. But God says to the believers, it doesn't make any difference. So I guess we will close tonight, and we'll have a number of fatihas to read. Today is August 4th, and we'll finish Surah 96. Next Friday is August 11th. Inshallah, we'll finish maybe 97, 98, 99, 100, up to 105, let's say. The following Friday is August 18th, and we should finish the Quran then. And the Friday, August 25th, we have the new translation with us to start the Fatiha. So we have to plan it this way. That next week, inshallah, we finish up to Surah 105, and we have to help our teachers to do that. And the following Friday on the 18th to finish, so that we start the Fatiha with the new translation, inshallah. So our teacher next week will be Dr. Mahmoud Sabahi and his assistants, Dan.
Me again?
That's so good. You did a very good job, especially Dan. Inshallah. Yes. You know, Kefir is an excellent teacher. By the way, he presented to you the chemical isomers. He made it so easy. The right hand glove and the left hand glove. And chemistry, we talk about the D and the L isomers of the same compound. But he made it so easy. He's a talented teacher, I can tell that. So inshallah, we'll make use of his talent more often. Philip?
Dr. Khalifa, I would like to ask that we include my wife, Evelyn, for her. Her birthday was the 31st of July. She's now traveling by herself, and by auto she has to go to Oregon to take care of some business. And if we could keep her in our hearts.
Inshallah. The 21st of July.
31st was her birthday.
31st of July.
That's right.
You have to tell us about this and we'll get it.
I know, I didn't.
That's very close to your birthday.
It is.
Yeah. So, okay, our teacher, don't worry.
Yeah,
We'll
just
make use of talent more often. But Glory will be our teacher next week. Finish to Surah 105, and then Ahmed Rayan, inshallah, will be the following Friday to finish from 106 to 114. Inshallah. We need to read the Fatiha for EB Muslim. Out there. Okay, when he comes to next voice here. And Catherine, she forgot that her birthday is tomorrow. Tomorrow? Monday, yes. Catherine's birthday. And Martha is not here, so give her in absentia birthday. Her mother decided to have a party for her. This was the only time to have her, so she's not here tonight. We read Al-Fatiha for Philip and his wife, Evelyn. That may God be with them. Be with Evelyn on her travels. When I read Al-Fatiha for Maryam, she wants to offer thanks to God and to her father because of blessings that she were overdue, and because of Tupac and Maryam, they're so sincere and God loves them, so He showered them with His blessing. It should be a Fatiha of thanks. So for Abi, Abib, son of Mahmoud Abib, Linda Abib, and for Catherine, Colton, birthday, for Martha's birthday, for Philip and Evelyn, for Maryam, we turn to God and for all of us, whatever your dearest wishes in your heart, you ask God and He will hear you. Al-Fatiha. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله